And today we're asking the question, why are some of our trees shaped like triangles? Or if we were thinking about it three-dimensionally instead of two-dimensionally, why are those trees shaped like that upside down ice cream cone? So all the way around. We're used to thinking about our trees losing all of their leaves in the winter, but some of our trees keep their leaves during the winter. We call these trees evergreen. That's because they stay green all year round. And many of our evergreens can do this because of the unique shape of their leaves and the shape of the tree as a whole. So a lot of our evergreens are going to have thin, needle-like leaves. So we're used to thinking about those leaves as being big and broad, but a lot of our trees out here have very thin needles, like our red cedars and our pines, like Virginia and white pine. But we also have a few other evergreens like holly trees, rhododendrons, and magnolias that do stay green all year round. Because these evergreen trees still have their leaves during winter, that means that they have to deal with snow and ice and wind a whole lot more than our naked trees that lose all of their leaves, because a thin, naked branch isn't going to collect as much snow and ice as a tree that has full leaves all around it. So their special cone shape is going to allow all of that snow and ice to slide right off. So it's not going to collect a whole lot. And then what it does collect, that shape is going to be nice and strong. A triangle is a really strong shape. A cone is a really strong shape for staying upright. So it's going to be able to hold on to that weight just a little bit more. So I want you to kind of think about the roof on your house has that triangle shape. And we do that, again, to let that snow and ice slide right off, but then it's also a nice strong shape for having to hold on to whatever snow or ice do collect on top of it. So again, that triangle is a very strong shape. These trees, being one of the only trees around that have leaves on them during the winter, also end up being really important for a lot of our small birds and mammals to find a little bit of shelter from the weather during winter, because it would be a little bit warmer for them to be on the inside of a red cedar that's full of those leaves than it would be for them to be on a naked oak tree where the wind might really make them a little bit colder than they want to be. When you go out on your hike, you're going to be looking for areas that are a little bit higher up or maybe are southern facing, because a lot of our evergreen trees are what we call sun hogs. They love lots and lots of sun, so they're going to be where the sun is, southern facing slopes and the tops of hills. On this hike, take a look at the shapes of those trees. Notice how the small ones might be a little bit different than the big ones. And then also give yourself the treat of getting up close and smelling them, because a lot of our pine trees have really great smells. Get in close and see what types of animals might be using these trees for shelter during the winter. If you're hiking and you come across some holly trees, you'll notice that they still have their leaves. They are an evergreen tree, but instead of needles, they've got dark, glossy leaves that are a little bit prickly. But they still retain that cone shape, sort of narrow at the top and then getting wider down at the base in order to shed that snow and ice easily in the winter. For your activity, we're going to be having an engineering challenge. So you're going to make something and then you're going to test it. And we're going to be testing shapes and how they hold up to different weight. So I chose to come down to a gravel bar because it's got lots of rocks and sand for me to work with. But you can really work with whatever you've got around your home or anywhere in the forest. So you could be stacking sticks and using dirt to drop it on top of it. Or if you find those rocks, those are really great. So I've got two stacks of rocks over here. I've got one that's in that cone shape, just like our evergreen trees, and then I've got one over here that's more in that lollipop shape that we associate with a lot of our broadleaf trees. So down here you might not be able to see it, but it's got kind of a narrow base and then it flares out at the top. And over here it starts small at the top and then it just gets bigger and bigger down to the ground. And I've also got a whole bunch of sand, and this is where we're going to test it. So this is kind of like our snow coming down on top of that tree, and we're going to test it. We might lose some of our rocks, but we'll see how it holds up to that weight. A little bit of hail in there falling down, and we'll try this tree over here as well. And you're just going to play around with stacking these rocks in different shapes and seeing how they hold up to the weight. Now both of my trees held up pretty well, which maybe says that this was a light year for a bunch of snow and our trees are going to do just fine in here. You're welcome to try different shapes. You can try a totally new shape, you can try a really tall tree, or you can make a really squat tree and see how those hold up again to holding on to the weight of that snow and that sand. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you all next time.